Brownsville, Texas encountered 45,000 in 26 days. The reason that none of you, especially our communities of Brownsville, didn't really feel the hardship of that was because we have extraordinary teams.
And now from McAllen City Hall, a meeting of the McAllen City Commission.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Commission meeting. We have the Pledge of Allegiance followed by invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Omar Quintanilla. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Creator of heaven and earth, we give you thanks and praise. Thank you for this rain that we received today. We ask that it would continue to benefit our residents and farmers. We pray for your protection on our first responders and all that work for the city. Pray that you'd give us wisdom today as we conduct our meeting, that our decisions would be honorable and that you would be glorified. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. We have a couple of proclamations, but first, I know we probably won't be meeting again, but we do have a birthday to celebrate in a couple of weeks. We have Commissioner Pepe Cabeza de Vaca on May the 4th. So happy birthday, even though we're not going to be around. Okay. And proclamations, we have National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Commissioner Aguirre.
Is anyone here representing? Okay, this is hard, but very, very needed, supportive. We need to support this cause. Whereas it is necessary to build a robust family well-being system that not only supports families when they are in crisis, but it is intentional in supporting families before they are in crisis. In Texas, we believe that children thrive in safe, stable, nourishing families within their own communities. Through establishing partnerships with families, we can build strong, healthy families and resilient communities where children can thrive. Sadly, child maltreatment is still a significant public health issue. Communities that lack accessible supports and resources can experience increased risk factors that lead to child abuse and neglect. Despite the complex factors that can lead to child maltreatment, it can be preventive. And whereas April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, a time to be reminded that children abuse prevention occurs every day through the diligent work, tireless advocacy, and simple acts of kindness undertaken by Texas families, friends, neighbors, House of Faith, advocacy groups, nonprofit organizations, schools, healthcare providers, social workers, and government agencies to support children and families across the Lone Star State. And whereas child abuse prevention cannot be tasked in one community, agency, or system, behind many families that succeeded on their own as a strong community that provided a way for the family to meet their needs. All Texans must work together to increase awareness and keep children and families safe and together. I encourage all Texans to learn more about the many aspects of our communities working hard to create a positive, healthy environments for the future leaders of our great state and city. Together, we can create a brighter future for children, families, and communities in Texas, and assure future leaders have the support they need to thrive and reach their potential. And whereas effective child abuse prevention remains the best defense between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, business, law enforcement agencies, and families. Therefore, I, Antonio Tony Aguirre Jr., City Commissioner of the City of McAllen, by the virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of myself and the Mayor and the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of April Child Abuse Prevention Month. Thank you.
And next, we have Community Development and Fair Housing Month. Commissioner Cabeza de Vaca.
You're well represented, huh? Awesome. Definitely very happy about this proclamation. It's 50 years of helping our community. And it's amazing. And thank you to all of you that help helping our community with these grants. City of McAllen proclamation, State of Texas, County of Hidalgo, City of McAllen. Whereas the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development implemented the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, in 1974 for the purpose of providing local governments with the financial resources to provide decent, affordable housing, a suitable living environment, and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons of low and moderate income. And whereas the month of April 2024 marks 50 years of Community Development Month, a milestone deserving celebration and recognition for its profound impact on communities, including the City of McAllen. And whereas the city has effectively administered and customized its Community Development Block Grant for 50 years to implement various programs and projects in the area of affordable housing, economic development, public facilities, and public works improvements, homelessness, and planning that has contributed to the improvements of the physical, economic, and social conditions in our city. And whereas the City of McAllen has received more than $65.3 million from the CDBG programs and an additional $15.6 million in home and $1.2 million ESG funds. And whereas the City of McAllen adheres to policies set forth in Title 8 of the Civil Rights Legislation, further known as the Fair Housing Act. And whereas aid legislation was first adopted in April 1968 by President Lyndon B. Johnson, which now prohibits discrimination in housing practices based on race, color, religion, age, national origin, sex, disability, or familial status. Now thereof, I, Pepe Cabeza de Vaca, CEO Commissioner of the City of McAllen, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested in me and on behalf of the Mayor and the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Community Development Month, and further, the month of April as Fair Housing Month. Congratulations to all involved, and thank you so much.
Good evening. We do have a short video that we would like to play.
There's a lot of dancing and celebrating going on at Camp University. which stands for Can Achieve Maximum Potential. Camp University provides opportunities for adults with special needs to continue to develop interest, experiencing life, social, and job skills. This amazing organization can provide these much-needed opportunities for adults with special needs, thanks to the City of McAllen's Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary of helping communities with federal funds. That funding is used for affordable housing, infrastructure, public facility improvements, economic development, social services, and in McAllen, the CDBG program has made quite a powerful impact.
The CDBG funding that we receive is a vital part of what we do for our families because we charge our families such a small portion of what the true cost is. We're always looking for funding that enables us to keep the cost to the families low.
The federal funding that Camp University receives from the City of McAllen CDBG is earmarked for teacher salaries who work with the students. It also provided funds to install a fire sprinkler system at the school.
On behalf of Camp University, I want to say congratulations to the CDBG program that helps so many nationwide, and it's people like us in Hidalgo County, McAllen, Texas, that really need the support, and we can make a difference together.
It means the world. It means that I've succeeded. Okay, don't get emotional, but it's my dream home.
CDBG is essential to affordable housing preservation and expansion in low and moderate income areas. Melba Cruz, a lifelong McAllen resident, says she is a single mother who worked 33 years of her life at a school district as a teacher's aide to live the American dream.
It's a blessing. It really is, especially for someone who has sacrificed to pay their taxes, to keep the old home up.
According to Bobby Calvillo, Affordable Homes of South Texas Executive Director, utilizing McAllen CDBG funds allows Affordable Homes of South Texas to assist 5 to 10 families per year with approximately $200,000 in annual funding to buy a home by providing low to zero interest home loans. This assistance is on top of the additional CDBG funding Affordable Homes receives for home reconstruction. Last year, Affordable Homes of South Texas was able to complete 34 new homes in McAllen, utilizing other City of McAllen funding sources as well.
I want to wish a happy 50th anniversary to CDBG of McAllen for helping successfully get my dream home.
Calvillo says Affordable Homes of South Texas is proud of its 48 years partnership with the City of McAllen in helping to ensure that McAllen families are living in a safe, decent, and affordable home.
CDBG helps us tremendously with replacement of water and wastewater lines.
Throughout the year, CDBG has also provided funding to the City of McAllen and the McAllen Public Utility for infrastructure projects such as water and wastewater systems.
We're standing here at College Heights subdivision, Bicentennial and Expressway in McAllen, and they have been instrumental in helping us replace, I'd say maybe 80% of the water mains in all of this area and some wastewater lines. So they have been a tremendous ally for McAllen Public Utility.
Vega says the McAllen Public Utility is always planning for the future and expects the assistance of CDBG funds to improve and expand water and wastewater services into other parts of the city.
On behalf of the McAllen Public Utility Board, all our staff, all our ratepayers, I just want to say congratulations to CDBG on their 50th anniversary. Thank you.
Cheers to the City of McAllen CDBG program for 50 years of investing in the McAllen community and its people.
Thank you. So National Community Development Month and Fair Housing Month marks the annual opportunity to celebrate the impact and longstanding accomplishments of the federally funded Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnerships programs. This event provides the opportunity to celebrate critical, locally led projects and services. This year marks the 50th anniversary of our CDBG program, and the City of McAllen is dedicated to actively promoting awareness, education, advocacy for these vital resources. This recognition highlights the role the CDBG program has had and we will continue to have in the development of neighborhoods and communities, while also recognizing the importance of community-based organizations and the city departments in assisting low and moderate income residents throughout the city of McAllen. For 50 years, CDBG has been an important resource for our communities to provide programs and activities to address infrastructure, affordable housing, and community and economic development needs. CDBG has long been considered the most successful federally supported local program ever approved by Congress. The city of McAllen has greatly benefited from these federal programs and will continue to act as robust stewards of these services for the well-being of our community. Thank you. Special thanks to Xochitl and her team for putting together that really nice video, and for our partners that are here with us today. Thank you.
Where is it? Yeah, which one is it? Oh, no. Okay, next we have National Telecommunicators Week. Commissioner Quintanilla.
Hey, Chief. How you doing? How are you? All right. All right, I'm very proud to give the following proclamation. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require fire, police, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of firefighters, police officers, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our first responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who call 911. And whereas the public safety telecommunicator is the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas the public safety telecommunicator is the single vital link for our first responders, and by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas McAllen's emergency telecommunicators have contributed substantially to the suppression of fires, apprehension of criminals, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore, I, Omar Quintanilla, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of McAllen, by the virtue and authority vested on me and on behalf of the Mayor and City Commission, do hereby proclaim April 12th through the 20th, 2024 as National Telecommunicator Week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And so I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to recognize the men and women that protect the city of McAllen behind the scenes. You know, these are literally the voice of all first responders in our region, and it is very important that we take the opportunity to recognize them. You know, and like they mentioned, or like we mentioned during the proclamation, you know, our first responders out on the field, regardless if it is, you know, a fire, need for police, or EMS services. You know, once again, these are the men and women that are out there protecting us behind the scenes. They are the unseen heroes of all first responders. And so thank you for the opportunity to be here to recognize them.
And next, we have public hearings.
Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. We have 3 items today listed on your bulletin and your agenda for routine items. The first one is to rezone the property from R2 to R3T. Property is located at 821 South 16th Street. The second rezoning is to C3 from R3A. The address for that is 7901 North 10th Street. And you have a third request, rezone from C3 to I1. Property is located at various addresses, 2200, 2201, 2212, 2216, 2217, 2222, 2225, 2226 Beach Avenue, and 2241 Cedar Avenue. These come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Do we have anybody to speak against any of these items, 1, 2, and 3?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Anybody against items 1, 2, and 3? No? There being a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. Next item.
The next item, B, is a rezoning that's been tabled, and we ask that it remain tabled for this meeting.
Okay.
Table?
That's to remain table.
Remain table.
Item C.
Okay, this is a request for a conditional use permit. Property is located at 1200 Auburn Avenue, Building 300, Suite 300. It's a request for a conditional use permit for a bar for 1 year. The property is located on the north side of Auburn Avenue, west of 10th Street. The surrounding zoning of the property is C3 to the north, to the east and south, R1 to the north and west, and you do have R3T and apartment zoning to the south. You got a mixture of surrounding uses, including commercial plazas, single-family residences, you got a restaurant, a bar in that area, as well as the drain ditch that's on the north and west side of this shop. The request is to operate a bar, OTBG North Park, from the approximate 3,500 square foot building. The hours of operation is Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. until 2 a.m. Fire and Health Department have inspected and approved a conditional use permit to continue. The request must comply with section 138, 118A4 of the zoning ordinance. This property is within 400 feet of a residentially zoned property and use. We have received several calls in opposition to the request. The item was considered at the first meeting of April 3rd by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The applicant was present and spoke. There was also 3 people in opposition to the request with concerns regarding noise, the buffers, and the current uses of the property. The item was tabled at that meeting to allow for a police report. It was taken off the agenda of the April 16th meeting. Again, the applicant and the neighbors were present. Following discussion, the item was recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission to disapprove it, but with a favorable recommendation with a vote of 5-1.
Okay. And this is the one, the bottom one on that back building on Auburn, correct?
Correct. It's in the back. You have the Holly Rabbits, you have the DeLoreans, the Utopia that's there. And this is
the one to the east side.
Easternmost part of the building, yes.
Okay.
I have to abstain from this one, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Anybody here to speak against the item? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commission. Ronnie Tavares, 1321 Fullerton Avenue. I'm here to speak against the conditional use permit as passed by P&Z. They did so without any type of conditions, which is somewhat inconsistent with what we've seen in other conditional use permits. As an example, back in January, the Commission had an ordinance for Thirsty Monkey on 10th Street that had a condition that no sound could be heard from the residences or by the residences after 10 p.m. And so something along those lines, I think, would be appropriate in this instance. We can coexist, business and residential. It has gotten out of hand recently, or I say over the last year. And so I think there's a way to coexist. We realize that the entrepreneurs and the restaurateurs do have an investment there, but so do homeowners that have, there's about 10 homes there that have been constructed and built and paying taxes for 20 plus years. So I think there's a way to coexist with appropriate restrictions.
Okay. And you know what, I agree. There's it's the one on the bottom. I know that in that area, I've had some complaints initially, and I went to across the street, and sometimes you do hear something, and I'm talking about 11, and that is, actually, that's not proper for us. It really isn't. And we do not want to impede any growth and commerce, but we do need to have, I agree, with some limitations. So, anybody else?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Max Science. I live on 1400 Duke Avenue, straight behind Howling Rabbits. Yes, the noise is not only until 11. It's been 2 in the morning, 2:05, 2:10, 2:15. And sometimes it gets very, very loud. Not sure where the noise might be coming from. Extreme bass sound, extreme, out of hand, way out of hand. We're pro-business, pro-growth, pro-McAllen, right? I mean, I like the Oak. I think they run a pretty good business at the other locations. However, if we're gonna issue, or if you guys are gonna allow a conditional use permit, please put some conditions, especially the after 10. After hours, it's crazy. I get the entire sound from all that area. So anything you can do, we will appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Anybody else to speak against the item? Okay, because I know I talked to some individuals regarding this, and I don't think it's an issue of, hey, we really don't want them. We do need some kind of, whether it's some fencing, some bushes, some trees, some whatever it is. I think there has to be some conditions. And I know we have several locations that, this one's right now. This is the one we're dealing with, but there's also others that once they come up, I think we need to have some conditions for the whole area. It's a beautiful area. It's growing, and that's what we need, but we need to make sure that we keep our homeowners happy and that they are in a peaceful place and to rest whenever they want to rest. Commission?
I had a couple of questions regarding the neighbors. Mr. Tavares and the other gentleman, can you come forward again? The music that, okay, describe the noise you're hearing. Is it music being played outside?
Outside music, the deep bass, which was referenced earlier, and usually 11:30 is when it starts to crank up, and it's that deep bass that is, trees unfortunately aren't going to stop that, and we do have some other rooftop, I'll call them rooftop type lounges that have outdoor speakers, and that deep bass just cranks up, and that's what you can really hear.
Okay, so
occasionally, on a Sunday during football or NBA basketball, you hear people cheering, and that's not a problem. That's fine. You don't hear that resonating bass that unfortunately is hard to contain inside a building, certainly not from a rooftop.
And is it your belief it's mostly from a speaker as opposed to a live band? Or?
There's been a few,
it's kind of hard to tell, but
there's been a few times when it's certainly been a DJ, I think a special event or two.
Okay.
There again, those have been earlier in the afternoon, early evening, and that's not that disruptive. So it hasn't been, that part of it hasn't been bad. It's 11:30 where it really gets cranked up.
And what's the latest time, at least, even if it's on one occasion, that you've heard that music? Does it go all the way to 2? Or
Oh, yes. You wake up at 1:30 or so in the morning, and
it's still pounding.
You just hear it pounding. A couple of weeks ago, I finally did call the police department again to file a complaint, and they said, of course, they had to come by and speak to me to be able to file a complaint. So, there we were out at 1:30 in the morning, visiting with the officer, very, very respectful, very timely. But, that's what has to be done in order to try to get a handle on it.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Tavares.
Was I had an experience some months ago. I'm not going to say where, but one of the issues was I thought it was a little loud, and I mentioned it to them. They didn't know I was a mayor. And I said, maybe there's going to be some issues, and they go, well, you know what? We make a lot of revenues. The city won't do anything. So I just want people that have bars and locations like these to understand that we will. I mean, you got to keep peace. Our residents have to sleep well, and not everybody enjoys loud music. So we will shut them down.
Just one comment. I mentioned this before. If I run my music outside my house up until 10:30, 11, somebody's going to complain. I hear it all the way till 2:05 in the morning, 2:10 in the morning. Fridays, Saturdays. It used to be, for a while, it was pretty much every day. And then it slowed down. Lately, I got to give them credit. Howling Rabbits have been pretty quiet. They're not really howling much anymore. But there's some noise that really comes out, I guess, Toloa, Utopia, or whatever the other places are.
Oh, that's right.
It just way out of hand, and there's no filters, there's nothing, and no wall, nothing to prevent it. I went up on my fence 2 extra feet last year, trying to prevent, it doesn't, just noise will travel. And whatever can be done, I mean, like I said, we're pro-business, Oak, wishing the best. I hope they move in all honesty, but there's gotta be some restrictions as to the outdoor noise. It's just way out of hand between Toloa and Howling Rabbits, and then I've been told that the places in between also crank it up. And it's all the way till 2 in the morning, it's not just 10.
Okay, but it's not necessarily just outdoor music. It's probably music from the inside that's still permeating through the walls and going.
That's what we hear. I don't
Okay.
visit the places, but we hear that there's one of the places in the middle which has no outdoor speakers.
Right.
And they're just booming that bass. That's what I hear. I don't know which place it is.
Commissioner, to your point, when Howling Rabbits opened up, they ended up putting a barrier, if you will, doing different sound mitigation, and it was better. And then when Utopia opened, that's when the bass really started. And, that's through tilt wall construction. I understand it was affecting the neighboring tenants, almost knocking bottles off the wall. It was so loud. So that's the issue. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, and I think we will address this. This is for this purpose only, but I think we need to address the whole area, and we will.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to confirm, Mr. Lara, this does not have an open area where they can set up outside?
There is an open
It
area.
does to the east.
The applicant, I think, maybe here, he explained that he was constructing some walls around the open area. I wanted to have some TVs with, instead of loud music, outdoor music, but he.
Well,
did the same thing.
shrubbery, trees, something help out.
Does this have 2 floors?
It's 2 floors. The first floor is the floor plan that we have is for the first floor.
And the second floor, is that where the open area is?
There is
a.
Both?
Yeah, there's also an area to the east side of the building that's got a canopy, and that's the area that they're looking at having some outdoor seating.
Okay, with regards to the, here comes the litany of questions. So with regards to the other business operations that actually operate a bar, do they all have cups where they're allowed to play music up till 2 p.m.?
There is, only one of them has a conditional use permit, which is Utopia.
Oh, Utopia.
The ordinance itself does reference what Mr. Tavares was mentioning, that it should not be heard after 10 p.m.
Oh.
So the loud music, so if there's an issue, the code enforcement police do go out and respond to that. So when the ordinance is written up, and it includes the conditions of the conditional use permit.
So there should be no loud music or something that is beyond a
After
certain
10 p.m.
decibel after 10 p.m.?
Correct.
Well, and right now, we're just addressing this, but if we can send out some notice to all of them regarding that, to remind them, please.
Yes, sir.
On the summary analysis, it makes reference that the hours would be from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Correct.
But we can make the conditional use permit where no loud music after 10 or beyond 10 p.m.?
That can be a condition if the commission felt like that should be added to it. Yes, sir.
That's correct, Mr. City
But I think that'd be very inconsistent with the others right now. I
Well-
think we need to make sure that they all lower down the music.
Isn't Utopia the same at 10 o'clock?
No.
Well, that's what you just said.
That's city ordinance already.
Utopia, yes, the ordinance does reference that. It's a condition of the conditional use permit that it cannot be heard after 10 p.m.
That's already ordinance.
If it's within 400 feet of a residential.
Well, then
area.
they're not following it, because that's when they jack it up.
Correct.
Right.
So that's what we need to go and make sure that if we have to cite, we have to do whatever, if we have to shut them down.
Remind them that it's a CUP. CUP can be janked at any time.
Yes, sir. The Utopia, I think, was done in September, so it'll be
Oh,
up
just
for
so they know.
renewal.
Remind them.
I'll make
I
a
think
motion to
the applicant is there. Mayor.
Is the applicant here?
He's
Okay.
here.
Well, I think you're gonna be okay. I think we're just looking at some issues regarding any potential.
Pretty much what you hear about noise and make sure that we don't bother the
Yes, so
residents.
what I had told them in the planning and zoning, what I'm planning to build is gonna be a wall in the north side of the patio area and then on the east side to kind of enclose it in. So the only thing that's coming out, like sound, is gonna be to the south side of the building. And I'm just gonna do TVs outside. I can't say no speakers because TVs already come with speakers, but I also told them that I would get a decibel meter. My landlord told me that I can't go over 75 decibels. So I'm just gonna get a meter just to kind of read it in case court enforcement goes, like I can show them, hey,
Appreciate it.
you know what, like, yeah, this is our reading. So I mean, I'll make the investment. I'm closing out most of the patio area so it doesn't exceed to the outside.
If this board passes the conditional use permit with the caveat that you're not supposed to have loud music at 10 p.m., is that gonna interrupt your operation?
No,
It won't?
No, it won't. It won't. Yeah, because especially, I mean, we have the patio, it's already included in there. We're not building out anything. And I mean, sometimes the weather permitting, sometimes they'll be able to use it or not. But I mean, our business is indoors. Yeah.
Very well.
Well, but also you're limiting yourself if you agree to 10. Would that be beneficial or not?
I mean, it shouldn't be a problem because I'm not going to have any DJs, any outdoor speakers outside. Basically, the outside is just going to be for like TVs, for excess, overflow, I guess, from the inside. Whenever you have fights or basketball games, football season.
Yeah.
But no speakers outside.
And always
or no
be
DJs
mindful that older people like us don't like loud
Yeah,
music.
exactly. No, yeah, I understand. You have to be able to have a conversation.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm mindful of that.
Okay.
I wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit with the caveat that obviously no loud music, whatever city standard decibel that is, beyond 10 p.m.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Now we have consent agenda. Oh, I need a motion to amend the zoning ordinance of the City of McAllen.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All against? Motion carries. We have consent agenda items A through L and 3E, which should have been in consent. Do we need to pull anything out?
Motion to approve all items set forth.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. We're in item 3A, and I have to excuse myself, Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem.
Take him in.
So item 3A is award of contract for El Rancho Road roadway widening from Second Street to Jackson.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, this agenda item is for the consideration and approval awarding civil engineering services contract authorization, work authorizations 1 and 2 to Hanson Professional Services for the El Rancho roadway widening project. This project aims to widen the section of El Rancho Road from a 2-lane road to a 4-lane road, urban road with gutter covering approximately 1 mile from Second and Jackson Avenue. The proposed services include preliminary engineering, boundary survey, design development, bid, construction administration. The total estimated construction cost is $6.5 million. The negotiated fee for work authorizations 1 and 2 is $201,000. Staff recommends approving the award to Hanson Professional Services, Inc. for this project. And we open it up for any questions.
Any questions?
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
3B is consideration and approval to reimburse the developer for Northwest Creek 33rd Street improvements.
The objective is to grant approval for reimbursing Garmin Real Estate Development LLC for the public improvements along 33rd Street between 6.5 Mile and Brazos Avenue. Currently, this road lacks paving, drainage, sidewalk within the Northwest Creek subdivision. The developer, through their engineer, Meldon Hunt, has proposed to undertake the entire section's improvement spanning 1,320 feet and seeks reimbursement from the escrow deposited by Villanueva Estates at Trinity Oak subdivision. This escrow totaling $282,906 was designated for paving, drainage, and sidewalk enhancements along 33rd Street. The pro rata share corresponding to the Northwest Creek subdivision's proposed improvements amount to $214,622.05. Staff conducted a review of the public improvement cost estimate and deemed reimbursement request reasonable, capped at 50% of the total final construction cost, or $214,622.05, whichever is lower. Consequently, staff recommends granting approval for the reimbursement request put forth by the developer. This action ensures completion of a vital public infrastructure enhancements and fosters the collaborative development efforts within the city, and we open it up for any questions.
Mr. Mendoza, do items 3B and 3C the same? Well, I mean, not the same subject or action required, but does it entail the same property?
It entails the same property, but they're slightly different. This one is we're taking escrow from another subdivision.
Got it.
3C is from the city.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a question, excuse me. Okay, so when I was reading, which I can't now, but when I was reading it yesterday, we have $280 some odd thousand, right? And we're asking to, part of that money, which was around $80,000, right? To go to who's going to be performing that road improvement.
That's
and
correct.
drainage. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we still have whatever, $200,000 in our city coffers for the remainder of the project.
There'll be a remaining balance. If we don't find any other infrastructure that's needed, then we would need to return that back to the developer.
Okay, and that's, I was gonna get to that. When is that trigger?
Once I finish the improvements that they escrowed for, and we can show that we have them in the ground, we reconcile that out and we send it back. So within 30 to 60, 30 days.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Oh, sorry. That one, I made that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
C is consideration or approval for city participation for the public improvements of Brazos Avenue at Northwest Creek.
The goal is to consider an ordinance for executing developer's contract to contribute to the cost of expanding Brazos Avenue as part of the public improvements linked to the proposed Northwest Creek subdivision. Garmin Real Estate Development LLC, the developer, is obligated to complete their share of the public improvements along Brazos Avenue, which currently lacks proper infrastructure. The remaining paving to be achieved is 44 feet of paving back-to-back will be the responsibility of the proposed McAllen Fire Training Facility subdivision, with the city of McAllen acting as a developer. Meldon and Hunt, the engineer representing the developer, has proposed a participation contract with the city to complete the full stretch of Brazos Avenue within the Northwest Creek subdivision, approximately 660 feet. A cost estimate for the proposed public improvements has been submitted, with staff reviewing and deeming $92,765.29, or 30% of the total construction cost for Brazos Avenue, whichever is lower, as a reasonable amount for the city to contribute. Staff recommends approving the request, fostering development while ensuring prudent resource allocation, and we open it up for any questions.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
3D is consideration and approval to reimburse the developer of Silver Oak subdivision for public improvements along Hobbs Avenue between Bicentennial and 18th Street.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, as part of the subdivision process, RD Silver Oak LLC, the developer for Silver Oak subdivision, is required to complete their portion of the public improvements along Hobbs Avenue. Hobbs Avenue, classified as a collector road, lacks paving, drainage, and sidewalks between Bicentennial and 23rd, despite having an 80-foot right-of-way and 40-foot of paving according to the thoroughfare plan. Their engineer, Javier Hinojosa, has proposed building the entire section of paving and drainage and sidewalk through the Silver Oak subdivision spanning 576 feet. In conjunction with the request, the developer is seeking reimbursement of their pro rata share from the escrow deposited by La Floresta subdivision for similar improvements along Hobbs Avenue. La Floresta subdivision escrowing total $246,548.25 was designated for paving, drainage, and sidewalk enhancement along Hobbs Avenue, with the pro rata share of Silver Oaks being $80,786.58. Staff has reviewed the cost estimate for the proposed public improvements and deemed $80,786.58, or 50% of the total final construction cost, whichever is less, as a reasonable amount for the city to reimburse the developer of Silver Oak subdivision. Consequently, staff has recommended approval for the reimbursement request, ensuring equitable development, and we open it up for any questions.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
3F is consideration and approval of change order number 4 for runway 1432.
Mayor Pro Tem Commission.
3E was
part of the
requested
other.
by the mayor to be part of consent, and I recommended that. so
Okay.
It's been approved.
So staff recommends approval of change order number 4 in the deduct amount of $180,545.50 for a revised contract amount of $20,002,561.68.
No más?
Any questions?
No más 20 million?
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
This has to do with all the drainage?
Yes, sir. They are field improvements.
Aye.
All opposed? There being none, Motion passes.
Good job. G is
Next item.
consideration and approval of cargo building lease with Prime Flight Aviation.
Staff recommends approval of the proposed lease of cargo bay number 11 for a base 1 year and 6 months with 1 2-year option. This will parallel Delta's contract with the lease agreement for the terminal, and so this is the ground handler for Delta.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
H is consideration and approval of an airline operating agreement with terminal building lease with Concesionaria Vuela Compañía de Aviación, SAPI, known as Volaris.
Staff recommends approval of the airline operating agreement and terminal building lease with Volaris Airlines at McAllen International Airport.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
3I is consideration and approval of lease agreement for Rodriguez Restaurant at the downtown parking garage.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the commission. The Downtown Services Department is seeking authorization for a lease agreement for Rodriguez Restaurant at the downtown parking garage. We received a single bid with a proposal of $2,400 for a space of 1,587 square feet. Staff recommends approval to enter an agreement for 5 years. I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Is that the one on the bottom, right next to the passport department, on the bottom there?
Yes, it's one of the spots there in downtown.
Why is the caption on the column non-responsive?
I think one of the, that was a preliminary document that we included. The bid bond is, everything's been received since.
Oh, it has?
Yes.
Okay. Motion to approve.
There was a motion already.
I'm sorry, second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
4A is a budget amendment for Los Encinos Turf Field Project. Denny's coming up, but really, we're just moving the monies from one zone to the other.
another, yeah.
Correct. As budgeted, we recommend
3 to
approval.
1? You're moving from 3 to 1, right?
3 to 1. Yes, sir.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
B is providing for a budget amendment for replacement of AC at Las Palmas. Mayor and Commissioners, this was an emergency replacement that we needed to do at Las Palmas, so recommend approval.
Any questions on this item?
On this, weren't both AC units at Las Palmas and, I'm sorry. Oh, this is Las Palmas.
Las Palmas, Lark and Palm.
My apologies.
Yes, sir.
My apologies.
Okay. Any questions further?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next item is providing for the collection of car rental customer facility charge at McAllen International Airport. Jeremy, that's tied to the workshop item?
Yes, sir, at a presentation and workshop.
Okay, so how are we with time? Can we move one meeting? Unless the commission feels comfortable, we're gonna present at workshop and we didn't get to it.
I think,
You can present it over here?
Okay. You have 30 minutes.
I think most of us read it, right?
Yeah, we did.
I think this is long overdue, and certainly to have a turnaround facility is something that, even when I was on the Airport Advisory Board 15, 16 years ago, we had contemplated, but it never came to fruition. I think this is a good step forward, and certainly a service for our concessionaires that do the rental car service there, so. I'll make a motion to approve. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't you tell us a little bit of what it does?
So as we continue to grow, we're looking at growing our concession and our rental car concession. The QTA is called a quick turnaround facility, and essentially what that does is it helps the rental cars turn those cars around a lot faster, get them ready, prepared for the next customer. And this fee that we're looking at collecting is already, collected by other airports all over the country. Historically, we have not taken advantage of that charge. There's 2 airports, competing airports here in the area that do collect that facility charge around the same amount. And this just helps the rental cars and any kind of development for any rental car facility. So it would help our business community.
And the rental car companies are in favor of this?
Yes, we've had a consultation in February with the rental cars company, and they're all for it.
Perfect. Second.
Jeremy, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is that gonna, do we have those, there's these, well, there's an ad that has, like, you can get a car. You go into that ad and you get a car, like, or it's a rent-a-car, but it's not a business, it's like your car. If I wanna rent my car, I go leave it at the airport, and they take it from there.
Do we have that there?
I've seen that during COVID, but we're not aware of anything. They're operating under the radar if they are.
Those operate off an app like Uber, because I used it
It's
before.
like, it's,
I used it
yeah, it's an
once
app,
when I
you
couldn't
just,
get a
and they
rental
just
car.
tell you the,
It's like
the
Tubo or
the
something
key
like that.
is in the black
No, it's
box.
just, you
and
just rent someone's car.
Yeah, you rent someone's car,
You decide
but
where
they
to
leave
pick
them
it
at
up or
the,
where
at the
to drop it
airports, because that's where I picked it up.
Yeah, me too.
So in the presentation, you had given options. Is the recommendation that $3.50?
It's based on the average of the options. The main focus is the QTA. There are other projects that are eligible with this funding. Looking at the amount of transaction days between fiscal year 23, they are looking at around $900,000 a year. With a total of that project is about $10 million. So certainly we want to start collecting it ahead of the increased development and the increased service that we're going to be experiencing here real quick this summer.
So the motion and the second that we have, does it contain that's $3.50 per transaction? Is that
the recommendation? Yes, sir.
Right?
Is
Okay.
$3.50.
So move.
Okay, so there's a
already have-
motion and a second. Any further discussion? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
TERS time, resolution providing for an appointment and confirmation of members of the Tres Lagos Public Improvement District for Director Position 1 and Position 3.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission. The Public Improvement District Board for Tres Lagos was established by resolution of the city and is allowable under Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code. The PID Board was established to be managed by the PID, and to be eligible for appointment to the Board of Directors, a person must be nominated by the developer and selected by a majority of the Public Improvement District Board. PID positions have been nominated, and request the City Commission reappoint Mike Rhodes, Position 1, and Jaime Gonzalez, Position 3, for 2-year terms beginning April 16th, 2024 through April 15th, 2026. Staff recommends approval.
Is there a motion?
So move. Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
5B is resolution of the City of McAllen in accordance with Chapter 311 of Texas Tax Code and the McAllen Code of Ordinances for the appointment and confirmation of members of Reinvestment Zone Number 1.
On December 22nd, 2014, the Commission established an ordinance establishing the TERS Number 1 and their board membership terms to be staggered. At this point, board members 1 and 3 have expired and need to be reappointed. This includes Mike Rhodes and Jaime Gonzalez respectively, to be reappointed for a 2-year term beginning March 3rd, 2024 through March 3rd, 2026. Position 5, held by Nick Rhodes, is to be reappointed for a 1-year term. I apologize for the error on the memo. It should be a 1-year term since he is the chairman, and that's only allowable for 1 year. So it would be January 4th, 2024 through December 30th, 2024. Staff recommends approval.
Is there a motion to that effect?
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
C is resolution of the City of McAllen Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1 Board of Directors approving and recommending payment of a reimbursement request of goods and services provided to on behalf of the City of McAllen.
On April 9th, the TERS Board of Directors reviewed and approved for reimbursement construction expenses in the amount of $1,982,976.13. The city's engineering and finance departments previously reviewed and agreed upon the amount of reimbursable construction expenses on this draw under the agreement. Items include engineering, paving, drainage, utilities, and other associated miscellaneous expenses. The staff recommends approval.
So move.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Same type of resolution for the tax investment zone, request number 40.
On April 9th, the TERS Board of Directors reviewed and approved for reimbursement construction expenses in the amount of $1,877,413.99. Again, the city's engineering and finance department have reviewed and approved the amount of reimbursable construction expenses on this draw. Items in this draw include design, landscaping, playground, masonry walls, and other associated miscellaneous expenses, and staff recommends approval.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion
Thank you.
passes.
6A is advisory board appointments.
Good afternoon. This item is for advisory board appointments. I have received nominations from Commissioner Quintanilla, Commissioner Haddad, and Commissioner Cabeza de Vaca. Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla nominated Andrea L. Rodriguez to the Community Development Board. And Commissioner, you have one remaining vacancy to the Ambulance Evaluation Committee. Commissioner Haddad, you nominated Isaac Karam to the Parks and Recreation Board, Annie Holland Miller to the Convention Center Advisory Board, and Grace Perot to the Library Board, and you have one remaining vacancy to the Disability Board. And Commissioner Cabeza de Vaca nominated Ofelia Averac to the Convention Center Advisory Board, Mark Mills to the Historic Preservation Council, and Andrew Perez to the Library Board. And those are all the nominations I have.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
6B is Immigration and Respite Center report.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and City Commissioners, most of the numbers are the same. We're still averaging right about 175 immigrants dropped off in the city of McAllen per day. That's the average over the last 2 weeks. In the last 6 weeks, that average has been 201. So we're staying fairly average here for the last 6 weeks. Our COVID positivity numbers are about 3%. The biggest other item that I'd like to point out, the capacity that we have at Ansel Duas Park, I've reported multiple times, is around 750. That current capacity is 500. We're reducing some of the tents out there just to conserve funding. We have a current population of well under 100 out there, and so we're just looking constantly at different ways that we can reduce the cost out there. Happy to answer any questions you may have, and we can increase that number rapidly if we need to. So.
They reduce costs, but this is still being reimbursed through the federal government.
We're still getting funding. We currently have allocations that should take us through about the middle of next year with the funding that we currently have available.
COVID testing is still necessary by the federal government?
COVID testing is being requested by Catholic Charities because of the fact that they've got people in close proximity, so we're doing it at their request.
And that percentage has stabilized.
It has. You know, it's ranged from about 4.8 to 4.8 to 2.9%. It fluctuates a little bit, but
There hasn't been a spike.
no,
Okay.
no, staying fairly consistent.
Thank you for all you do.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Future agenda items. Anyone have anything to add?
Yes. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and Mr. City Manager, I'd like to see we can get either a workshop item on our city thoroughfare plan. I don't believe we've looked at that in some time. What is a particular to me is our conundrum as our city has grown north and northwest. Pretty much everything north of Nolana in terms of east-west connectivity has been an issue for our city. And I'd like to see, we can look at that plan again to see what streets we're going to look at. And I'm not talking about the streets north of 107. I think those are pretty much, laid out. I guess collectively speaking, over the many decades that this board has met and throughout various city managers, we seem to have gone through the quarter mile, half a mile, mile collector kind of system. And I think as we're going north past Trenton, it kind of gets a little discombobulated in trying to meet those metrics and we're trying to maintain that separation of a quarter mile to half a mile. There's some streets that can go through, some that are not quite there yet, so I'd like to see if we can get like an update or plan on what that looks like. Not specific, not the entire thorough plan, but certainly between 107 and north of, Nolana.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's very, very good and very needed. And that's our growth. And if we need to know exactly, what are going to be the dimensions and the drainage needs there, because that is our growth.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And the cost that
Oh, sure.
we need to allocate over time.
Of course.
And, okay, so before we go into executive session, I do want to acknowledge Mayor Javier Villalobos' birthday, May the 6th. It's 2 days after yours. And so
Yeah.
let's give him a
Round of applause.
Whenever he sees the video,
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So now we're on to executive session, and we'll recess at this moment to go into executive session.
We're gonna talk
That's what we really want to focus. We want the
Okay. We're back from executive session. What items do we have to vote on?
Mayor Pro Tem, with respect to item 7A, I recommend the City Commission take no action at this time. With respect to item 7B, I recommend the City Commission take no action at this time. With respect to item 7C1, I recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate the acquisition of the real property on the terms described in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, with respect to item 7C2, I also recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to acquire the real property on the terms described in executive session.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, with respect to item 7D, I recommend the City Commission take no action. With respect to item 7E, I recommend the City Commission consider a motion authorizing the city manager and city attorney to proceed as described in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mayor Pro Tem, I have no more items to offer you.
Okay. There are some areas of town where voting is taking place, so please take advantage of that. And there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Regular City Commission meetings are held on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Meetings are rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on the McAllen Cable Network.
In there, you do your job, you do it right. You don't have to apologize for it at all. I mean, if you know that you're supposed to be doing something, get your butt in there and do it. You can't believe. And always remember when you were underneath and you were having to do that. I had to do that with my kids. My oldest son got in a situation that I got